Hello there, football fans, and welcome to the Marburger post-game show. This is Lewis Carpenter along with...
I'm Dennis Davis and...
Tom Cinefani.
There you
the
go.
dapper Tom Cinefani.
The
Look
dapper
at
Tom
Look at this
Cinefani.
haircut. Our boy has got his hair done this week.
Well, my mother insisted that I get it done because I was
Does your mom
embarrassing
cut your
her.
hair, Tom?
Yes, she said it was an
Kathy,
embarrassment.
Great job. Way to go, girl.
Well, and she got on him for his pick last week.
Yeah, she got on me for that. And,
Well, she was up till midnight to hear Tom come up with some lame pick.
Yeah, well, it will be again a pleasure to be insulted here because of my picks and my loyalties. But Dennis, if you want to tell us a little bit about that Crest Chargers Shelby Golden Lions game, I think you were at that game.
Yeah,
and
but is it over?
I don't know. It's close to being over. I know my mom and my dad and my brother.
Did Terry give the scores?
Saying that game.
Hey, Steve, let me verify. Was that 31-14 final?
Your turn this week, Steve.
Okay, who won?
It's your turn this week, Steve. It's your turn.
Chris. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Steve.
He's not gonna let. He's not gonna let up.
Before we do anything else, let's run through the scores right quick because Terry didn't get to go yet. So, East Lincoln 42, West Lincoln 15. Cherville beat Bessemer City 28-27. Bessemer City scored the touchdown late and got the extra point blocked, and Cherville got the ball back and held on to it. Maiden 42, Lincoln 14. That game was tied at 7 at the half. Burns over RS Central 44-20. And Forest View 65, East Gaston 8, North Gaston 49, and Lake Norman 10, North Lincoln 48, and West Iredell 14. And for Terry, North Carolina's basketball team won the only game they're going to win this year. They beat Appalachian State 98-77.
NC
State.
NC State.
NC State.
Congratulations to the Wolfpack for beating up on those Mountaineers.
There you go.
Well, listen, the football team won't come out much better tomorrow, Lewis. They're playing Georgia tomorrow.
Oh, I know. Golly, why would you want to play Georgia?
Well,
so they can see their recruits, I guess.
yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that. The first the Crest Shelby game, and I also want to get to that Cherville Bessemer City game, which
I'm going to tell you, I was there, and I'm going to tell you
tonight.
exactly what happened.
You talk about Bessemer City, Cherville first, and just
I can tell you exactly what happened. Cherville came to play, and Bessemer City was watching.
Well, I don't
know. Now, they can say what they want to, but Cherville came out gunned. It was 14-0 before you turned around. And then they started going back and forth. But Cherville, to me, wanted it worse. I just think they looked to me like they wanted it worse, and they come out ready to play, and they took it to them.
And
when you block an extra point, to win a football game, that's pretty good doing.
But Lewis, what does that do conference-wise going
Ties
into the playoff?
Now they're going to flip the coin.
Okay.
They'll flip the coin for number 1A seed.
All right.
Is what they'll do.
Tom, Burns over RS tonight in a conference game. Tell us a little bit about that.
Burns is still turning the ball over a little bit, which does concern me. RS Central late in that ball game had a scoop and score for a touchdown on a fumble. There was another fumble earlier in the game deep in Burns territory, led to an RS Central touchdown. So this game, RS Central got a lot of their points off turnovers. Now, Burns really, their running game was really impressive. The defense was really impressive. There was one play where RS Central went for it on 4th and inches, and I tell you what, it just looked like the Burns line just was into the backfield before the RS Central ball carrier could even move. Tried the quarterback sneak. So they looked very impressive on some aspects of the game. Turnovers do concern me. You were at the game last week, Dennis. Those 2 turnovers in the second half. So I think Burns is poised for a deep playoff run. Got to clean up some of that stuff. Yeah. Now, no disrespect to our Central, Dennis. The quarterback is very good.
Yes.
And very mobile.
But he doesn't have a lot surrounding him.
No, but not too much. But he can throw the ball a little bit. And they threw a little bit on the Burns Bulldogs tonight. But I just think just too many athletes, too much speed, just too much. But going into the playoffs, and Dennis, as the level of competition rises, you're not going to get by with fumbling it inside your 5, and you're not going to give up a scoop and score or a pick 6. That kind of stuff has to be cleaned up, but I know that Matt's going to work on that in practice this week, get it cleaned up, and he'll be ready for the playoffs next week.
Well, speaking of the level of competition, I was at the Shelby Crest game tonight, and I was pleased to see, since South Point had a week off to heal up, Phil Tate and the coaching staff came over, and we spent a lot of time reminiscing and chatting a little bit about Shelby's history with South Point and Crest history with South Point prior to the game. And South Point, based on the ADM numbers, is probably going to, Lewis, be small 3A this year. The Cramerton, Stuart Kramer school has pulled them down a little bit. They could even drop down in the future to be a 2A, which would be like a Shelby kind of level.
Oh, my.
But right now, Tom, in deference to your Bulldogs, if we don't want to project any brackets or anything till tomorrow when the North Carolina High School Athletic Association does that, and then they screw them up and change them.
Change it, yeah, I thought to say. And then do it again.
Yeah,
They'd never screw up anything
by
in
6
Chapel
o'clock,
Hill.
they will definitely sort of know who might be playing who. But I could see it, Lewis, a matchup down the road of South Point and Burns.
Yeah.
And that will be what we call a
Slobber knocker.
And I tell you what I like about Burns in that matchup, something that would favor them is their defensive line. Yeah. And you have to, your big eaters up front have to push that offensive line back and really disrupt things in that red bone that South Point likes to run. And Burns is built to do that. Burns is built to score a lot of points. They've got, the Gillette kid who catches a ton of passes. You got Montgomery, who's pretty good as well. Yeah. The thing, that I keep coming back to is hopefully they will clear up that turnover issue they've had. And that Burns South Point game is a very intriguing matchup of two well-coached teams, two very good programs.
Well, speaking of the Crest Shelby game, and I would like to speak complimentary of Shelby. They've had a great season. They play some tough teams. They are a 2A school, but, man, they play the big boys. They don't care. They're rough. They're tough. They've lost to South Point. They've lost to the big schools. And, there's nothing ashamed with what Shelby did, and they played themselves well. Now, I will have to say this. In the second half, Shelby came out, Lewis, in some formations I thought were very innovative.
Yeah.
They had 3 wide over here and trips over here and a slot and, center and 1 guard. And they got some real mileage out of that because Crest was running around, what do I do? And then the second time they tried it, it was almost intercepted by the Crest player with nobody ahead of him. So they sort of dropped out of that and went back into sort of a familiar formation, if you will. And I had to leave at pretty much the end of the third quarter, so I didn't see a lot of what happened. You guys who watched the game or were at the game tonight, call in and talk to us. But
as I was watching that game late, I'm going to tell you what, that Crest Chargers running attack is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, they if you can run the football, man, that is such an advantage. Go ahead.
And tell me what happened to Justin Moore. He did not really play in the second half.
No.
It was all Harbison, and
Right.
Harbison has been injured and has not been 100%. But, Tommy, the good news, Raquan Washington this week committed to Youngstown State.
All right.
Yeah.
Go
Hometown
Penguins.
boy
The
for
Youngstown
you.
State
There you
Penguins.
go. You got the connection.
Many of my cousins attended that university, a very fine university there in Youngstown, Ohio, and a very fine football program.
I started to say a football power.
Right. And as you guys know, the school coached by none other than Jim Tressel, unfortunately the now disgraced Jim Tressel.
Oh,
but
hey, you're a Buckeye fan too, I know.
But that they were very good under Jim Tressel,
Yeah.
and that winning tradition has been maintained at Youngstown State. So that very good for both. Both were getting a good kid, Youngstown State.
Woody and
Good
them
program.
played them at Gardner Webb one year.
Youngstown State, yeah.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, the defensive coordinator up there now was at Gardner Webb last year when they changed over, and that's how Washington.
Oh,
this
that's
guy
the
had
connection.
seen
That's
this
the
guy.
pipeline.
Okay.
Maybe it was the offensive coordinator. Anyway, he had seen Washington, invited him up to Youngstown to the camp up there.
Right.
He liked what he saw.
They have an awesome
Can
facility.
you believe that? Somebody leaving the South and going north, Tom.
I know.
But they have a very fine facilities
I know.
there at Youngstown State. And I'll tell you what, I remember one time Youngstown State came down to play Appalachian State about 6 or 7 years ago,
Okay.
and my buddy took me to the game. Coldest game I ever spent in my life. Got really cold because App beat them like 65-10. But that was
Listen,
it.
that's
They
the only
did-
way App will have a chance tomorrow is if they play Georgia in Boone.
Yeah, they don't
Because
have
Georgia
much of a
will be
chance.
so cold.
and Georgia spots them 10.
Well,
Georgia's
maybe
gonna
20.
and Georgia's gonna pay him $250,000
Yeah,
or whatever to take that
Probably
beating. So-
more than that.
Yeah,
Take
you're
one for
probably
the
right.
athletic fund, boys.
Yes, that's basically.
I'm not sure they have a lot to take this year because it's been a tough year for all us App folks. Little change of coaching.
Hey, you spoiled
the
all.
AD's he's on the hot seat, and so we'll talk about that later. But in the Shelby game, Shelby played some great defense at the start of the third quarter. They regrouped. They came out and give an effort. But I'd like to also say that the Chargers went out and methodically went through what they did best, and that's run the ball. When they did that, particularly in the first half with Jalen Moore and Harbison, they did very well. Without Moore and just Harbison, Shelby defense was tough. They were in the backfield by the time they handed the ball to Harbison. So heads up to Shelby. The score is not indicative of how tough this game was on both sides of the ball, Lewis.
And I think, are we trying to get scores from Terry? Okay, we're going to go to a break
Yeah.
right now, and then we're going to get some scores
Be
with
back.
Terry, and we'll be back.
Be back shortly with the Marburger postgame show.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams. S&M Sports Shop is now your dealer for Under Armour sports apparel in Cleveland County. Come by and see the selection of Under Armour shirts, shorts, shoes, socks, and sunglasses. The team at S&M, Mike, Suzanne, Luke, Shannon, Dale, Ken, Darren, Dennis, and Charlie, is now your team outfitter for all local schools in whatever sport you play. They have leather jackets for all local high schools. Plus, S&M is your headquarters for Oakley Sunglasses. For all your athletic needs, go to S&M Sports Shop, located at 707 South Lafayette Street in Shelby. When accidents happen, it's reassuring to know that quick expert care is nearby. Carolina's Healthcare Urgent Care Shelby is now open and is staffed with experienced physicians, mid-level providers, nurses, and support personnel equipped with on-site laboratory and x-ray services. So keep our new location and contact information close by for immediate access to the region's preferred healthcare and largest physicians network. Carolina's Healthcare Urgent Care, 1010 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby.
Shelby Savings Bank.
It's just better here.
With local decisions,
Better.
flexibility, and knowing how to treat people,
It's just
Better. Better.
It's just better here.
we're here to help our neighbors do better.
It's just better here.
With our best deal mortgage guarantee,
It's just better. Better. Better.
Better here.
great products,
It's just better here.
and 2 convenient locations.
It's just better here.
Now more than ever, Shelby Savings Bank. It's just better here. Member FDIC.
And now scores from around the area. In the Southern Piedmont 1A Conference, congratulations to the Cherylville Ironmen, who have defeated Bessemer City tonight, 28-27. Cherylville Ironmen are your Southern Piedmont 1A Conference champions. In the Southern District 7 2A Conference, it was Bunker Hill leading West Caldwell 42-33 late in the fourth quarter. It was Bandy's defeated Newton Conover tonight 27-21. It was East Lincoln, the Southern District 7 champions, as they go to 7-0 in the conference with a 42-15 win over West Lincoln. It was Maiden after a 7-7 tie, pulling away from Lincoln in the second half to win 42-14. In the South Mountain Conference, it was Crest defeating Shelby tonight 31-14. Burns had no trouble with RS Central 44-20, and East Rutherford over Chase 31-17. In the Big South, 2A, 3A, it was North Gaston defeating Lake Norman Charter 49-10. Forest View no trouble with East Gaston 65-8, and late in the fourth quarter, it's Ashbrook 17, Hunter Huss 17. In the North Piedmont 3A, 4A, North Lincoln defeated West Iredale tonight 48-14. That's win number 4 for North Lincoln. Hopefully they can make the playoffs. It was Alexander Central over North Iredale tonight 27-20. Statesville leads South Iredale late in the fourth quarter 23-19. And Mooresville is your conference champions as they defeat Lake Norman 35-31. In the Northwestern 3A, 4A, late in the fourth quarter, High Brighton leads Hickory 28-27. Freedom has defeated Patton tonight 48-14, and St. Stephen's sends Fred T. Ford to a 0-11 season with a 20-7 win. And now, back to the guys in the studio.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLO in Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
No. Come here and tell me why. Welcome back to the Marburger post-game show. Terry, come here and tell me why.
Lewis is steaming mad about
I'm not mad. I just think you got it wrong.
Lewis is calling Terry out.
The deal is Bessemer and Cherryville are co-champions. Not Cherryville, because Cherryville already had one conference loss. Bessemer had no conference losses, and they beat them tonight. One conference loss to one conference loss. That's a tie to me, Doc.
Okay, so you finish in a tie, but Cherryville is your number 1 seed. You go in as number 2.
Unless...
And Terry has spoken.
Oh, no. Terry, you got to flip a coin.
And
Terry's wrong.
All right, folks, you just saw it right here.
Either he's pulling my leg or he's wrong.
Celebrity death match here on the Marburger post-game
show. Let me tell you what. It's a tie, and it will be decided by coin toss.
Okay,
I think they just tossed that coin. I think Lewis tossed it at Terry.
I think Lewis just tossed Terry out of the series.
That's not right.
Well, it may be.
Right.
I think in all seriousness that Terry is saying, since they both have one loss, you go to the head-to-head.
No, this was Cherryville's second. There would have been Cherryville's second loss. Cherryville had one loss going in.
Right.
And Bessemer had no losses going in.
So
they're tied 5-1.
But
and that's a flip a coin. It don't matter head-to-head.
Cherryville has.
They're both 4-1.
Cherryville has the head-to-head.
No, that don't matter. Both of them got one loss. It's in a tie.
Okay.
I'll be back in a little while, Steve.
Terry knows better than that.
I always go by who beat who.
No, it's not who beat who.
It's
a tie.
It's a coin toss.
If they'd both been undefeated, that would have been different. But Cherryville had one loss going in. The best they could do was a tie, and that's what they got. And they'll flip a coin. They'll flip a coin to see who's number 1 seed.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out tomorrow.
I know that.
Lewis, tell us a little bit. Lewis, tell us also
Terry's
a little
wrong.
bit. All right, we're moving on. Tell me
about something. Terry's wrong.
Let's move on to the East Lincoln West Lincoln game.
East Lincoln and West Lincoln was 19-15 at the half, but then East Lincoln's speed, I think, probably just took over in the second half. 42-15.
And that seems to be the Achilles heel over there at West Lincoln. They seem to be able to hang in with some of the big boys for a while. Now, I said a few weeks ago, we had Coach Sane call in, and I said I was interested to see how you boys hang in there against the big boys. And I'm telling you what, if they were 24-minute games as opposed to 48-minute games. Dadgum West Lincoln might be conference
If ifs and
champions.
buts with Candy and Nuts.
Yeah,
or
but Lewis, you might have seen them more than me, and unfortunately, I would love to see the West Lincoln Rebels on KTC Broadcasting. We're not allowed to do that's just a Lincoln County rule, so I haven't seen them.
Hold on, it's my turn to rant.
Okay, go
Andre
ahead.
Bush, I told you I would call you out. You didn't show up at the station tonight. Last week you picked Burns. This week you picked Shelby, and you kept giving me this stuff about first downs.
Where's Andre?
And all this. Andre's not here, but
well, good grief! How you gonna go off on somebody?
I already went off on him in the press
So he
box
just went
tonight.
off.
I just told him I was going to do it on the radio if he didn't show up, and he didn't show up. So Andre, 2 weeks in a row you picked the losers. And you stand up there tonight telling me about how many first downs
Hey,
they
Terry,
had.
at least I done it to your face.
Hey,
At least I did it to your face.
I already done it to his face. He just didn't show up. Come on, Andre.
How did an analysis of Lincoln County football turn into a
I
rant
don't
against
know.
Andre?
How did this turn into the Friday night fights?
Hey,
I think both of
when
you
the
guys.
when the man's wrong, he's wrong.
I think there's a case of ADHD going around the studio
No,
today.
the man's wrong. Listen, don't.
That's what I think. I think these guys didn't take their medicine before they came in.
Don't tell me about regulations in high school playoffs.
'Cause
I
Lewis
coached for 35 years. I know all about that stuff because I've had to go for some coin flips.
As the What's Up Shopper says, football scores, discussions, and general silliness.
That's
right?
it.
There you go.
Well, let's
General
move on. Let's
Assembly.
move on to the Lincoln.
But now you going back to Lincoln and West Lincoln. You're talking about
Yeah.
analyzing the football.
Yeah.
The deal up there is simply West has not had the speed over the years, and that's been the drawback.
Or what I was saying is, they just don't have enough guys coming off the bench, and they probably got a lot of guys going both ways, so that's going to hurt you in the second half.
They're in a rural area, and there's still a lot of people that don't play football. You got a lot of kids that just don't come out.
And what
They'd rather
surprised?
go possum hunting or something.
Well,
like
that's
that.
right.
What
Or
else?
help on the dairy farm.
What else surprised me was the Lincoln Maiden game, which was close early too.
7-7 at the half.
Maiden gets blown out Maiden got blown out last week, correct? By East Lincoln, and then they come back and thump Coach Cloninger bunch over there at Lincoln High School, which surprised me. I expected a tight nip.
Yeah.
And
I thought it was going to be a
game.
little tighter than that, but it didn't surprise me. Maiden throws the football. I believe somebody said they didn't have but 60 yards per game rushing, and they throw it all the time. And to me, that's been one of Lincoln's weaknesses. That's been one of their weaknesses.
What's up? Okay, they're telling me we have a caller.
All right, who we got?
I believe we have
Mike. We got Michael.
Hey,
Michael.
Hey, Michael. How you
Take him
doing?
away, Tom.
We done those Bulldogs tonight real good.
We did well tonight. It looked like the offense was really in control tonight. Defense played well. It looks like we're turning the ball over a little bit, and that concerns me. Michael, what do you think about the Burns Bulldogs and taking care of the football?
We were good. We do real good. With take good with the ball, and then we just put our second string in tonight.
Yeah, I saw that late in the ball game. It's good to get some guys into the game that don't get a lot of playing time. A lot of those JV boys that are 8-quarter guys. I teach a couple of those in my classes, and they're pumped up and they practice hard, and they to get those boys ready for the playoffs. Sure, go ahead and get those guys in the game late. Let me ask you about the halftime. Did they honor the seniors tonight out there at Burns?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They honored the seniors. All the seniors, cheerleaders. They honored the band. They honored the football players, athletic trainers.
That's the first time I've seen.
Well, that's a special night, and I know that last year, I don't know if you remember, Michael, but we couldn't have our senior night at Burns because the field was shut down. So,
I know.
So it's the things you take for granted, and it is a special night at Burns, and those seniors have won a lot of football games, and we are proud of those kids and those young men and what they've done for our school. And Michael, we appreciate you calling in every week and giving us updates on the Burns Bulldogs. Are you going to expect a home playoff game next week?
I think we'll have a home playoff game.
And I think I can tell you who it might be against, Michael, based on the projections that I have seen, and these are not official, not correct. The projections have Burns as a number 5 seed, and they would be playing at home against North Gaston. So we'll find out tomorrow for real, Michael. But in the meantime,
I seen in the paper as Burns as a number 2 seed.
yeah, I'm just saying these are some projections. The ones that count are tomorrow. So at 1 o'clock, you get on the North Carolina High School Athletic Association site.
I heard maybe 12 or something.
Yeah. And they'll change it again about 3:30 or 4 o'clock. It'll be final. And then about 6 o'clock, it'll be final. But by next Friday night, you'll know.
Yeah.
So maybe.
So, Michael, when you go to that playoff game, make sure you call us here on the post-game show and tell us what you saw.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Got another caller. Who we got?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Kirk Herbertson, and I was just wondering what the score to the Lincolnton Maiden game was tonight.
It was 42-14 Maiden.
42-14.
That's correct.
All righty, thank you.
Yeah,
You're
Maiden
welcome.
won.
Thank you. We have another caller, Steve?
Got another caller?
Whoa, Tommy.
Hello.
Look at the Fighting Dan Griffon.
I heard that they were up 42-0, and
That
Dennis.
doesn't surprise
Go ahead, you on there.
Oh,
got a
go
caller?
ahead. Go.
Yeah.
We got another caller. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Who
Go
we
ahead,
got?
caller.
Tim Pruitt, Cherryville High School.
Hey, Tim,
Hey.
congratulations.
Thanks. I'm trying to clear up what y'all are saying. There will not be a draw, and we'll be playing at home next week against a team that will be seated lower than us.
How?
Is that because you won the head-to-head
Terry, come here.
matchup?
I'll give you the mic.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
what.
Well, now, wait
okay.
a minute. Did y'all not have one conference loss going in?
We did. We lost to Thomas Jefferson.
Well,
First game
they
here,
had no
2014.
conference losses.
Who?
Bessemer.
No, Bessemer's only got one conference loss.
Exactly.
They
Y'all are
lost
tied.
to us.
And why are you not going to flip a
Yeah,
coin?
well, we shared the championship. I
Exactly.
guess that'll be true. But example, if you go in the ACC tournament and you got two teams with the same record, if they played head to head, because some of them don't play everybody, that one's gonna get seated higher.
Hey,
That's just
hey,
the way
hey,
they do
hey,
it. That
wait
way
a
don't
minute.
have
You just said the
2,500
magic word.
every
you said
week.
ACC,
But yeah,
and I'm talking
Coach Fox,
NCHASA.
Yeah, that's part of it. And Coach Fox, I think, deserves a lot of credit as the head coach.
Oh, no question.
Enjoy being part of his staff.
Hey,
And,
I said a while ago that Cherville came out ready to play.
One thing, I've never
and
called you
Bessemer
guys.
didn't.
I coached the defense along with Scott Jenkins and Coach Powers. But I just wanted to say one thing, if y'all don't mind. I'm not. People always tell us how to do our jobs as coaches, but the one thing I would say to you guys, a group of people like Highland Tech who puts a lot of work out there, and they really played much better this year. Coach Jordan and his guys do a great job, and I hadn't heard y'all say this very much this year. But when y'all call them the pocket protectors,
That's
I feel
not
like that
me,
is
son.
No, I'm not. I didn't call out any individual. But
That's
if y'all okay.
You
do
can
that,
call out individuals.
y'all are just that. I don't know. I've heard it last year, and I don't know if I've heard it this year or not because I really don't get to hear y'all.
We
My
have.
wife had a baby. I'm on my way back to Cherville right now. She had a baby Wednesday, and
Congratulations.
I heard y'all, and like I said, I've never called, but I
Appreciate
did
you
hear it last
calling.
year, and those guys worked their tails off to go out there, and I really think Highland Tech's going to be in the playoffs. So I don't know if y'all are aware of that. They won a conference game, and because our schools only have 6 conference teams, and 1 in 5 or 1 in 4 record is going to be a percentage that's going to get them in with one loss.
Traditionally, Tim, all the 1A schools are in the playoff.
Yeah, well,
And
yeah,
have been
if
for the
they
past
have,
several years.
If they have no wins, they're not in, but there'll be a few one-win teams that don't
Right.
get in, and that's why Highland Tech's going to get in because they're in a conference like us. But I think that's great, too, because teams like us have to go play the North Gastons of the world and the Forest Views of the world in terms of Bessemer City, and it's hard for us to gather wins. So I think they reward the teams that are playing 1A, and they're in small conferences, and they have to play these non-conference games against 2A teams and 3A teams and 4A teams. But I appreciate all you guys do. I don't mean that. I'm not being critical. That's something I've had on my chest for a long time. I just felt like I need to get that off.
Thank
like
you for
anybody
calling.
would.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for
Call us
calling.
back.
All right. Hope you feel better.
All right, no problem, man. Y'all have a great one. Thank you.
Thank you. We got another caller?
He's
No, we're going to take a break.
Break.
Be back shortly with the Marburger post-game show.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
We all hear about how good the barbecue is in Lexington, Greensboro, and in eastern North Carolina. But here in Cleveland County, we all know that the best barbecue is here. At Austin Bridges Barbecue, Kent and Linda Bridges and their family make sure the staple of their restaurant is the best barbecue. Your choice, pork, beef, or chicken, plus delicious sides, such as slaw, beans, fries, and hush puppies. The best since Alston and Mabel opened in 1955. Austin Bridges Barbecue, 620 Grover Street, right here in Shelby.
Don't miss the grand opening specials at Gastonia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. You can get up to $15,000 equity assistance to get you right side up or lower your payments. That's right, $15,000. And during the Jeep Celebration event, check out our extensive inventory of new Wranglers, Grand Cherokees, and the all-new 2014 Jeep Cherokee. Gastonia Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Now open 7 days a week for your convenience. Located at I-85 and exit 21 and online at GastoniaDodge.com.
Since 1900, the Stamey Funeral Home in Fallston has been serving the families of our area with the finest in funeral service. In 1998, the Tysinger family began to serve the families of the Cherryville community, and today are a proud member of that community, providing services with dignity and respect. Caring for your family like our own, that's their slogan. Come talk with manager Pete Kraft about the services they provide at the Stamey Cherryville Funeral Home, 405 North Dixie Street in Cherryville. Today's high school football broadcast is being brought to you in part by your local Jack in the Box. Visit your nearest Jack in the Box anytime, 24 hours a day. The dining room is open till midnight, Sunday through Thursday, and 24 hours on Friday and Saturday. And of course, the drive-thru is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, it's Jack in the Box, 3618 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia, 455 Earl Road in Shelby, and 102 College View Road in Dallas.
Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. Those are the powerhouse of vehicles you'll find at Marburger in Shelby. Plus quality pre-owned cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. And of course, a service department that is second to no one. So when you're in need of another vehicle, see the friendly staff at Marburger. Marburger, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, Ram, Nissan. 1310 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Proud supporters of our local school athletic teams.
And now,
where are you headed after the big game?
In the Southern Piedmont 1A Conference, it was Thomas Jefferson going to 8-3 and 3-2 in the conference with a 52-14 win over Highland Tech. Bessemer City and Cherryville played tonight. Cherryville comes out on top 28-27. In the Southern District 7 2A, late in the fourth quarter, Bunker Hill leads West Caldwell 48-33. Bandy's has defeated Newton Conover tonight 27-21. It was East Lincoln completing a successful 7-0 season in the conference with a 42-15 win over West Lincoln. It was Maiden defeating Lincoln tonight after a 7-7 halftime score. Maiden pulls away in the second half, 42-14 the final. In the South Mountain SMAC Conference, it was East Rutherford defeating Chase 31-17. It was Burns over RS Central 44-20. It was Crest over Shelby 31-14. East Burke defeats Kings Mountain 42-28. In the Big South 2A 3A, it was Ashbrook defeating Hunter Huss 24-17. It was Forest View over East Gaston 65-8. North Gaston over Lake Norman Charter 49-10. In the North Piedmont 3A, 4A, it was Statesville leading South Iredell late in the fourth, 23-19. It was Mooresville over Lake Norman, 35-31 to win the conference championship. It was Alexander Central defeating North Iredell 27-20, and North Lincoln defeats West Iredell 48-14. And now back to the guys in the studio.
Your sports leader is Big O Country, 1390 AM WHS in Shelby, 1590 AM WCSL, Cherryville, Gastonia, 1050 AM WLON Lincoln, and online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
The Marburger post-game show. Terry Reinhardt, come here.
Terry.
You are right, and I am wrong. I just talked to another coach, and he said you are absolutely right because they beat him in the head-to-head, but that ain't the way it used to be done.
Yeah.
But you're right. That's the way it's done now. You're right, and I'm wrong, and I apologize. But it was fun. I enjoyed it anyway.
The gentleman from Cherryville who called in was correct.
All right.
Lewis was wrong, and I would agree with Lewis.
That's
and
right.
We're big boys, Lewis.
That's it.
When we make
We's
a mistake,
wrong.
we'll admit it.
But Terry, you was right and Wiz wrong, and Tom, you got something you want to say.
And I've had a couple of my friends, Eddie Taylor, a good friend of mine,
Oh,
coach.
yeah, Eddie's a good friend of mine.
Umpired baseball.